Hello and welcome to Simon Heals. My name is Simon and I'm sitting here on Lipanoi Beach in Koh Samui. It's an absolutely stunning evening. So if you're somewhere kind of chilly in the world at the moment and not so blessed with the weather, then I just thought I'd like to share this with you. I like to record a video this time of day. It's a time when I get out for a walk in the evening after the busyness of the day, and kind of thoughts and ideas and insights sometimes kind of come together for me, and so there's a couple of things this evening that I wanted to talk about, and I was thinking to make these like two different videos, and then actually I was thinking I can weave these together. So I don't know how successful I'm going to be in doing that. I haven't tried putting this into words before, so let's see how I get on. And yeah, just to say, if you're new to my channel, the reason this is Simon Heals, the name is Simon Heals, because really this channel is about me sharing my healing journey, and what I've kind of learnt along the way, and how I've gone on now to share that with others, and offer myself and my services as a healer. I don't particularly like that word, because ultimately we heal ourselves, but it's a word that is used, and when I use that word, I guess it communicates my role, and to some degree what I'm doing. So let's see how I can do with these, kind of weaving these two topics together. So really the first of these is about detox. I hope you can hear me okay. There's a little fishing boat going past here, so it's the busy traffic of Thailand. A single boat going across the bay here. The first of these is about detox, specifically physical detox. And if you've been listening to any of my talks, I'm very much kind of focused on the spiritual aspects of healing. But I do own and manage a detox center here in Koh Samui, and detox is something that I'm very, very passionate about. And I see it as so much more than just about cleansing the physical body. Of course, that is exactly what we're doing when we detox. But the actual, the process involved and the kind of results of the detox itself go way deeper than just the physical experience. And if any of you have experienced some kind of detox or fast, you'll know that it can be a very emotional experience. Really an opportunity to kind of turn inwards and be with yourself, particularly without the constant distraction of food and the constant mind games of what time am I eating, what am I eating next, shall I go shopping, do I go to a restaurant, all these things. And we really do spend so much time and energy on that subject, and then of course when we detox, it purges us of parasites, and particularly the parasites that have been feeding off the unhealthier foods that we've been eating, the sugars, the milk, dairy, eggs, meat, coffee, wheat. There's probably more things on those lists, but those are definitely some of the main culprits. And many of those, our bodies actually find it very difficult and near impossible to actually digest. So what ends up happening is that we need to call in the parasites to actually, in a way, help to decompose those foods within us, and particularly things like animal flesh, which I know this is a bit of a contentious subject, but from my understanding, is we can't really digest animal flesh, so we need to bring in the parasites to do that for us. It's the same like with sugar, and many of you have heard of a condition that is often referred to as candida, which is an overgrowth of the candida bacteria, which really thrives on sugar. So really what happens, when we have a craving for something, what's really happening is that we don't have a craving, but the specific bacteria or parasite that is feeding off the kind of food that we crave is having that craving. So when we detox, we can go through some really, really intense cravings as these parasites die off within us, and that dying off can be very interesting. I've done cleanses in the past where I've literally dreamt about dying. I've become so depressed, moody, and it's just the die off of these parasites. And see, these parasites, they merge with us at a cellular level. When they're within us, they become part of us. So their consciousness becomes part of our consciousness. So whilst that consciousness is dying off and going through its death, then we experience that as part of ourselves dying. So that's a very intense and interesting experience. And once we've come through the other side of that, it's extremely liberating to be without these cravings. And also, the consciousness of these bacteria and parasites is not it's not high level 5D consciousness at all. It's very, very low vibration, low level of consciousness. So it actually brings our consciousness down, and it brings our vibration down into lower frequencies, and what we often refer to as negative emotions. So that's kind of like an aspect of detox. I think that is so, kind of so important, both on the physical and the non-physical and metaphysical levels. The other thing is that when we detox, and particularly when we fast, we become less dense. There is less solid food within us, and the food that we eat is basically carbon. So our physical bodies are carbon-based bodies, and there's a density to these, and the physical body really is the densest manifestation of the total energy of each of us. So we each exist multidimensionally, both in this physical realm as physical beings, but non-physically in other dimensions. And there's far more of us, let's say by volume, that is non-physical than physical. And really this physical body is a manifestation, I think I said that already, of the non-physical. And it's an avatar. It really is an avatar. And if you think of this 3D realm as almost like a kind of video game, and the consciousness that we are is the player, and the physical body is the avatar through which the player experiences the game, the video game. So yeah, I think that's quite a good analogy. So, and then that's when we're going to start to get into the other subject that I wanted to bring into this conversation, which is about the chakras. So I think what I'm going to say now is not mainstream in terms of understanding the chakras, and maybe kind of controversial. Maybe some of you have heard something similar to this before. Maybe it's the first time, and you might find that challenging. But this is something that came to me a while ago. It came to me as a download last year, and I was sitting meditating. And what I was shown in the meditation is that actually our chakras are artificial, that they have been implanted into us through some kind of genetic modification way back when we were interfered with, let's say, genetically by other species that have really looked to harness our energy. Because I think, as I've said in previous video, we are source energy. We are directly connected to source energy. And there are many, many beings out there, whether out there is outer space or different dimensions or different planets, however you want to see that. And they are not connected to source energy. And these are more of an artificial intelligence type of consciousness. And names like archons have been used for these, for example. And then we have, like the people talk about the greys and the reptilians and the draconians and all these different lower frequency, often malevolent kind of races and beings they're always looking to siphon our energy. And so what they've endeavored to do, and they've been pretty successful at doing it, I must say, with this planet, this dimension, or this expression of the third dimension on Earth here, what they've been pretty successful at doing is, in a way, kind of creating a farm within which we kind of have the perception that we're free. A little bit like, in a way, if you had a huge field with a load of sheep in it, and those sheep were free to wander around the field. They could mate, they could raise their offspring, eat, just kind of do all the things that sheep do. They may consider themselves to be free, and to some degree, I think that's a kind of an analogy of where we're at. That we kind of consider ourselves to be free, but we're not really free. And there is a what we could call like a web, an artificial intelligence web, which many refer to as the matrix, which is a construct that harnesses our energy. And we imagine it almost like, visualize it as a physical web above us in the sky, surrounding us. And our energy is going up into that. And that web, that net is catching our energy. And then these non-source energy beings are then feeding off that. So that matrix, it's almost like a battery, and we're kind of constantly feeding into this battery. And so where I see these chakras coming into this is that I see these as I said before, I think it's been done genetically way back when, as a kind of overlay to our energetic bodies. And it's used to control and manipulate us. So we use that saying, don't we, about someone pushes our buttons, or our buttons being pushed. Think of the chakras as the buttons that are pushed, because the chakras are very much relate to our emotions and to the different frequencies. And I think my last video was a talk on this. And so they, who are the non-source energy, artificial intelligence, they are able to, they push these buttons. And they do that through things like media. Wow, there's these kind of surfboards out there that people are riding, and they're actually floating in the air. And they have this small fin that goes down into the water. I guess it's got some kind of jet or propeller on it, but they're super silent. And these people are just gliding around the bay on them. Beautiful. Amazing. They just look kind of like so 5D. Incredible. So, so yeah, these buttons are pushed through controlling our emotions, and that's done through things like media, like the food that we're fed, like the drugs that we're given. And make no mistakes, these demons, they harvest and supply the drugs, and we're talking about cocaine and heroin, and all these kind of narcotics and amphetamines and stuff, and foods, and they've really kind of manipulated the whole kind of food supply into something that on the whole is not edible, and it's certainly not the kind of food that we should be eating. And of course, over the years, we just adapt and adapt and adapt. And it's incredible in some ways that we still exist. And I think they just kind of allow us to exist enough, and they give us our 60, 70 years before we kind of pass over, oftentimes kind of sick and what's the right word? We've kind of dilapidated. That's not the word I wanted, but yeah, oftentimes we're kind of dilapidated, and we can and we should be living so much longer and so much healthier and so much more kind of abundant and creatively. And it's like we're just allowed enough to have that illusion of freedom. And because of that, we don't want to lose that perceived freedom. These days we're kind of going along with all the kind of, they're just kind of tightening up the controls, squeezing us and squeezing us and squeezing us. So yeah, the chakra system, I truly believe, is an artificial construct. It's used to manipulate us, and this is why last year, whenever it was that I had this download, I asked as well too in the meditation. Okay, so how do I get rid of my chakras? And I was shown how I could get rid of my chakras. And I must admit, after doing that, I had a very emotional 1 or 2 weeks, because suddenly I'm just wide open to source energy. There's nothing between me and source energy, and I'm just like so plugged in, and without these kind of filters that in a way dilute source energy, because that's what the chakras do. They dilute it, and they feed us just enough energy that we can survive. And as I say, they're kind of buttons that are pushed to manipulate us as well too. So when these were removed, it was like, whoa, so much energy was just like flooding into me, and my emotions my emotions were just like all over the place, because there was no boundaries for those. But yeah, after, if I remember rightly, after a couple of weeks, that kind of like really settled down. And since then, I mean, for sure, I mean, everything about my health, my life, everything has just been so much better. So, and then just kind of tying that back to the detox again, you know, we are beings of light. And this we talk about energy. Energy is light. It's light and sound, but primarily light. If light and sound, they're the same thing. They're just kind of like different frequencies that we decode differently. So let's just focus on light. And so when we're dense and we're eating all this unnatural food, we're full of parasites and the wrong kind of bacteria, and we're sick, basically, at some degree of sickness and entropy, then we're really unable to hold too much light. But as we detox and release all the bacteria, the parasites, the toxins that we're holding onto, we become physically lighter. That's not a coincidence. We become physically lighter, and we're able to hold more light. And light is information. It's not just something that we see. The light that's coming into us is information. It's information from source. It's the Akashic records. It is it's the information that keeps us evolving, not just across generations as a species, but within lifetimes as an individual being. And it's also our connection with source. So if we're not able to take in so much light, we're disconnected from source. We're not upgrading, we're not evolving, we're not living to our full potential. So when we detox and we're able to take in so much more light, then then we start to evolve that much quicker. You know, physically we're less sick, we have more energy, we feel more creative. You know, the downloads start coming. We're all channeling. Then you're channeling. Channeling is just connecting with source and receiving those messages from source. That's all channeling is. And then whether you choose to share that with others, or that's something for yourself privately, is then a choice. Although oftentimes people that do kind of more public channeling, they've been instructed to do that. So I hope that makes sense. I haven't played this back yet, but I think I managed to kind of weave those together in a way that makes sense and is coherent. So I just wanted to finish off this video by saying that since then I have removed the chakras with several clients that I'm working with, all of which have had fantastic results with that. So it's just, that's something that I want to offer to you as part of the healing that I offer. So if that's something that you would like to do, and we could just do that as an individual session, or if you're looking for just more of a kind of general support in your healing, please reach out to me. And then what I do is we have an initial consultation. All initial consultations are absolutely complimentary and without any obligation at all. And sometimes I will say to someone, I can't help you, or you don't need my help, or I'll just leave them with a little bit of work they can do for themselves. So I'm really, really not just looking to build up my paying client base. I'm very busy with clients, thankfully, and so this channel isn't really about that. Although I'm always very, very happy to help if I can. That really is my purpose in life. So let's just kind of finish it off there. If you'd like to reach out to me for consultation, for removing the chakras, and just kind of general balancing, clearing, Reiki, Theta Healing, spiritual counseling, my email address is below, or leave me a comment and I will reply to you privately. And we can arrange something. So thank you so much for joining me, and I've enjoyed making this video. So thank you for giving me that sense of purpose, just to kind of sit down in this beautiful evening and share my thoughts. Thank you so much. God bless you all. Namaste.